This is my student Richard Greenop, a former hockey enforcer who was signed to the Toronto Maple Leafs. He accumulated an impressive 499 penalty minutes during his 3 seasons with the Windsor Spitfires. He's a beast, but right now he's a white belt in Jiu-Jitsu. Let's look at where he can improve and how I deal with his size. Richard pins my right arm to the mat, and I need that arm to protect my head from being controlled, so I use my left arm to break the grip and pass it to my right arm. Now that I have control of his wrist, his priority should be to glue his elbow to his side to stop me from looping my left arm through his armpit for the Kimura, but he leaves it open and I secure the grip. He does the right thing to defend by positioning his arm underneath his belly, so I can't bring it behind his back for the Kimura submission, but it does give me what I need for the Kimura sweep as featured in my Kimura trap video. One thing that he could have tried was lifting his armpit over my elbow to win the elbow positioning. To get out of any Kimura, it's all about beating the elbow. To make the sweep easier, I pull his weight more towards me to load his weight onto my hips, and now I push my right arm into his wrist, which pushes his wrist into his belly, which forces him over. As we land, he turns towards my head, which is a trigger for me to attack the back. I was only able to get my left knee through rather than my whole leg, and I need a bottom hook as it's more important than a top hook, so I let go to reposition myself, but as I do, he turns towards the mat into turtle, which isn't bad, but rather than going to his knees and elbows, he should have went to his hands and feet as he can more easily create a ramp for me to fall off. It's going to be hard to submit him from here because I also need my hands for balance as gravity is working against me, so I drag him down by leaning my weight to the side, but I can't keep him down. As he turns back, he's not protecting his neck, and rule number 1 when your back is taken is to protect your neck, and you do so by grip fighting, but Richard's hands aren't doing anything. I get the choke, but Richard definitely could have fought it off more than he did. We start again with Richard passing, and he starts to get an angle on me, so I do a reverse shrimp to square up my body. What a shrimp does is make space to bring you further away from your opponent, and a reverse shrimp brings you closer. The mistake that Richard's making is that he shouldn't be on his knees to pass without upper body control, without grips like underhooks. By upper body control, what I mean is inside position with your arms. The only other time it's okay to be on your knees when passing is when you're pressure passing, have lower body control. If he were on his feet or popped up to 1 or 2 feet, then he would have stopped the sweep. As I land on top, he makes no attempt to trap my right leg by putting it in quarter guard, and I easily step over that leg to mount. His elbow is open and I could underhook it to start jacking it up for a submission like an arm triangle, but that may be too hard considering the strength difference, so I don't bother attempting it. He should be keeping his arms low, as reaching up leaves him vulnerable to attack. Although he can get away with it a bit more because of his strength, he should instead keep them low by the hips to more easily initiate escapes. He starts to shrimp and I don't want him to catch my leg in quarter guard, so I windshield wiper my leg to control him with my shin. This is what knee on belly is used for. You use it when you don't have upper body control or to keep your legs further away from theirs when they start to re-guard. As he gets onto his elbow, he's got to be fast to wrestle me down because he leaves his neck exposed staying here for too long, and now I snatch up his neck for the arming guillotine. I need to curl his head inward to provide enough pressure on the carotid artery, but he's keeping his back and head straight to prevent that, and I don't want to force it, so instead I push his head to the side to make space to position my leg in front of his face so I can work the omoplata. I don't want him to roll forward and out of the omoplata, so I grip around his waist. To finish the omoplata, I need his shoulder pinned to the mat, and right now it's postured up high, so I scoot out to the side to drag his shoulder to the mat with my body weight, and now grip his elbow so it doesn't slip out. To finish, I drive my hips forward to rotate his shoulder forward at the end range of motion, and I get the tap. And now a quick word from the sponsor of today's video, Elements. Training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu can be incredibly strenuous on the body. Personally, after multiple training sessions, I would often feel muscle cramps that just wouldn't stop. Now, the reason that this happens is due to the loss of electrolytes through sweat, the primary one being sodium. And when sodium isn't adequately replaced, that's when we feel those muscle cramps kick in, which is why I started drinking Elements. It's a tasty electrolyte drink mix with a science-backed electrolyte ratio of sodium, potassium, and magnesium. It also contains no sugar, no coloring, no artificial flavors, none of that junk. On top of that, it's also used by everyone from NBA and Olympic athletes, Navy SEALs, to everyday exercise enthusiasts. And right now, Element is offering my listeners a free sample pack with any order. That's 8 single serving packets free with any Element order. This is a great way to try all 8 flavors or share Element with a salty friend. Get yours at drinkelement.com/JordanTeaches. This deal is only available through my link. You must go to drinklmnt.com/JordanTeaches. He tries for a quick Toriano pass, but pressure passing would suit him better, as he's stronger but I'm faster. Again, he's on his knees without upper body control, and again, it allows me to hit another butterfly sweep. My weight isn't on his hips, so trying to position my legs underneath his for mounts will be difficult. So instead I backstep and make sure to position my legs behind his knee, so he has no chance of bringing his shin between us to regard. He starts to get up, so I pick his leg up off the mat to prevent him from standing up, as he needs his feet on the mat to stand up, and now put pressure on his hips and thigh to keep his frames pointing away from me, his legs. I use my left leg to turn his hips all the way over, and then replace it using the instep of my right foot. This will keep him pinned, but I still need to get over his left knee to mount him, which I do by stretching him out to make space between his knee and elbow. I now have inside position on that leg as I'm in front of the knee. I wasn't careful enough to not get rolled over, but as I've said before, I like to right my wrongs right away. So as soon as I get reversed, I swing my hips to the side to bring my leg over his face and hit an armbar. Again, Richard is on his knees without upper body control, and again I hit a butterfly sweep. A kind of weird looking one. As I come up, I have no upper body control, so again I go knee on belly. I take an elbow to the chin, which sucked because I just gotten hit the other day and bit my tongue pretty good. I've got vampire looking teeth and they just wreck my tongue anytime I get hit. It's not a big deal though, we're doing a combat sport and shit happens. I loop my arm through his legs to pin his legs, similar to what I did with my leg earlier, and now position my knee between his legs for what's called doe mount. There's not enough space between his arm and his knee for me to bring in my knee, so I lift up on his arm to make that space that I need. If something's in the way, you have to address it. I'm going to try to attempt an arm triangle. I go underneath his elbow to start jacking his arm up, but he bridges me forward and I'm forced to post using that arm. I think about the no-gi Ezekiel, but I can't get it deep enough. This is what I was trying to do. I've been working on the no-gi Ezekiel a lot lately. It's actually a pretty good submission. So I go back to jacking the arm up, but instead of the arm triangle, I attack the Americana. Notice how I didn't grip with my hand. It can be stronger to use your wrist, as the wrist doesn't flex like the hand does. It may be slightly less control, but it is more power, and against a strong guy like Richard, I needed the extra strength. More of the same, Richard on his knees without upper body control. Using my shin when I lack upper body control. But this is pretty cool. I jump into a rolling back attack. I land a bit too far underneath him, so I shrimp out a bit. I'm not going to be able to drag him down, so instead I climb up on him. What he should have done is tried to hide his back on the mat before I could climb up there. Again, I drag him down to submit him easier. And again, he doesn't grip fight, which leads to the rear naked choke. Would you guys like to see me roll Richard as he progresses? By the time he's a blue belt, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, and I'm excited for it. We start again, and I get Richard to put me in side control to start. I only give him inside position on my head, but not my arms. I frame with my right arm and close space with my left arm. I go over all these concepts in detail in my Jiu-Jitsu theory course. I'm able to get an underhook, and with me underhooking, he loses upper body control, and he could have popped up to knee on belly, but he didn't have that awareness. So I get to my knees to escape, and that's the end of the roll. Make sure to sign up for my newsletter for free conceptual jiu-jitsu tips every week. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. If you're still here, please leave a comment or a fist pump, and I'll see you guys next time.